So today we are going to create a custom report from scratch, and the custom report like with all workers. Okay, the important thing is to find out the right data sources. That will be our second step. But for now, we are just going to create a one custom report with all workers or all active employees. Two data sources we are going to touch. Let's start with the create custom report. So again, for any type of custom report, we have a task called create custom report. There is nothing changed. When you click on that task, it will open with this task, create custom report. Click here and you will see this screen. Now, the report should be quite reasonable name. They should not be a random name so that you can see and you can identify like what type of report you are looking for and what you are going to achieve from that report. And once you are looking for, it will be easier to find it out. So generally, I put like initials so that I can know that which report I'm creating, right? And then if it is about the worker or the employee, I can put like something like this: active employee headcount or something like that, right? Would be a more practical to see and to make that for you when you are searching reports. Otherwise, yeah, when you are spending like 4 to 5 years in the same company, there will be around thousands of reports which you cannot be figuring out like which report is meant for which purpose. So then if you click on this report type, you find a lot of report types. There are around 8 different type of reports.
Mhm.
Actually, advanced report, composite, matrix, sandbox, search, simple, transport, and training. So simple report is the first time whenever you create a report, it's a simple report. I created it once during the training, and when I got the training, and when I was giving a training to anyone, I just create those simple reports at that time. I don't do it in the practical life. Reason is like whatever I can achieve from simple report, the same thing I can achieve from advanced report. And I can extend my advanced report to anything which I wanted to do, but not with the simple report. So simple has a limitation, advanced does not have a limitation. So I'll go with the advanced report every time. Click on the advanced report. And then once I click on the advanced report, see I have a two more boxes here. So I'll change it to the simple, and you see that then sorry, simple. This point will be removed again, like a uh, web service. So web service is only available on advanced or search reports. Okay, so I click on the advanced report here. Temporary report. Temporary report are those reports which are just when you click here, it is available for a specific time period, and then it will be going to discard or delete it. It would be in the system for some specific time, and then you run a report or the task which delete everything from permanently. So, but generally the temporary report is that when you are making the report and you wanted to delete it, actually there are thousands of reports getting in the system. Like I, whenever I go, I create a new report, and then I wanted to remove it once it's done. It's the purpose is closed. So I used a temporary report at that time. So let's start from the temporary report. Like we put it as a temporary report. Enable as a web service. So that means that report is available outside the world with username and password if we create it for them, and they will going to extract the data outside the world through any other system. So then we make it as a enable as a web service. Generally, we don't. So I'll keep this task as not used for now. We'll use it once we are going to complete it at the end of the course. We are going to touch it. Generally, it is for the integration purposes. If you are developing your integrations, you probably need it more. Optimize for performance. This is a index data sources. Index data sources are those data sources which are they are not too many, but they are index. They are having some special way to extract the data, like with the primary keys and indexing, and that is much more faster. Of course, when we are talking about 10, 20,000 records, it's not the things which is like impacting. But if you are talking about 100,000 records, especially when it's come to the financials, this data sources are very important because like the system gets slow. The report took like long time to extract the data. So index sources is once we are selecting it, it permits us to add the index field to our report and filters. And in this way, we can ensure that our custom report is performing in the fastest way possible. So by including non-index field in your report, even if you use the index data source, your report will still run slower or the
Mhm.
hybrid mode. So when we are talking about heavy reports, we need to be more careful and we need to be very specific to extract and to be a performance based. So it's really the thing is when you are developing a simple report or advanced report, and you have talking about like a few hundred, a few thousand records, it's okay to use anything. But when we are talking about really a strong reports where we need a lot of data and information, we are going with the index data sources.
Understood.
But these are the limited data sources, so we have quite limitations there. Uh, Once you click on this, you will only find the limited data sources. You will not find all the data sources like uh, thousand of record data sources. You see a limited data sources here, and all the data sources are coming with this logo or this icon. And if you go on these three dots, we call it related actions. When you click here, you can see the description of this object. It's this data source. This data source is owned by Workday, absence occurrence of Workday indexed, and then description. Access absence occurrence as a primary business object and run one record per occurrence, and the other details here. So this description is very useful when you are not sure which type of data object you are using and what are the consequences or the options we have for the data sources. Okay, so now I will start with non-index data source first, so that I will have a more options. I will go with all active employee. Okay, there are two type of employees. One, the company is going to pay. They have a time off and everything. And then there are few consultants which come to your company and perform some special actions. They need access to their to the systems and to the Active Directory or email address or your uh, access to your systems and to your buildings. That may
See.
need to be in the system. Those are called consultants or the contingent workers. So if we have a contingent worker, employee and contingent worker both combinedly work as a worker. They are a worker. We divide it into the employees or contingent workers. If you select as a worker data object, then if you select on the all worker, that means these are containing both contingent worker and employees. The worker is
Yeah.
contingent worker and employees, and that's divided into two parts, employees and contingent worker. And then there are two type of employees further. Either they are active employees or they are terminated employees, right? Active employees are those who are still active and working for you, and the terminated workers employees are those who are terminated, who does not work with you. You still keep their records. So if you are just needs a employee, then you use all active employees, like where you need the current employees. But if you need the active and terminated employees, both, like you know that you need active and terminated, then you use active and terminated workers. So it will bring the both type of things like active and terminated both. Okay.
Yep.
Now you don't know which are the data objects. You go on these three dots and you can read the information from here. It is very important to read the things. It's a really helpful tips. When I started my career, I always read this information. Now I know quite a lot. That with the experience, you find a lot of things. But still, if I'm exploring on, I'm using a new object, I
Mhm.
always read this information. Okay, so I'll start from all active employee, and I go to three dots and see that access the employee as a primary object and return one row per employee. Only include employee who are active, exclude terminated workers, future hires, and any worker on leave if the leave type is marked as inactive worker. So it will only bring those employees who are active in the company. So going to the next, we'll just use the all active employees for now. Click OK. And now if you see, this is the primary object, right? So what we wanted to bring, let's say we need a first name. Okay, what are the names? There are multiple names of the person. There is a legal name, there is a preferred name, there is a nickname, there is a local name. You can have n number of names, right? So you have to decide, like when someone is asking for the report, what type of name he's probably needing. If it's some system where we need to report to the governments, we are always looking for a legal name. If we are talking about some invitation letters for the visa or something, we need a legal name and all this stuff. So I'll use like a legal first name, then legal last name. Okay, when you are using it, you can go into these three dots and you can see that what are these information. So this is a external or internal candidates, whereas this is an employee from the worker object. So you have to find out like which information we need. So we don't have to pick like every time without knowing like what type of information we need. We need to go into these dots and we can see that what are their information and from where they are picking. Okay, the important thing, there is always, let's try to do it like this, name. If I click name, it comes with the T, that is text, right? This T stands for text. This small t and f means true and false. It will always give you information yes and no. This is one-to-one relationship. For example, you have a one name, one legal name. You cannot have a n number of legal names, right? But if it this icon, like with
Uh-huh.
the three area, this is one-to-many relationship that
Okay.
will bring with like a if a object has a multiple relationship, it can be one, it can be multiple. For example, take an example of yourself and there are dependents and you have a one position, right? So if it's a position, it will come with this access, and if it is come to the dependents, it comes with this action, right? And then uh, age, if I click age, it will come with this number sign. It will give you a number, okay? And if I come with a date of birth, it has a date. So date will come with this calendar sign, date of birth, and then I'll age, the same thing which we have used in our first class. I'm using the same thing, and I click OK. I don't do anything. I click OK for now, and I go to run it. No, they don't have a local legal name. Local, this is probably a wrong object we choose. We should not be using a legal first name local. It should be a legal name first name, right? Then we have a date of birth, we have a age, we have a age group, right? So we are going to change this report again. If we go on these three dots, we can go into the custom report and edit. We can edit it. And now change it to the legal first name so that I will select the proper name. This is the proper name. And then we are okay. Okay, so I'll click OK and I'll go with the test. Test means it will bring 10 records only. Now I don't like this heading. When I'm saying I don't like it, it means that business has something else for us to ask, right? So they want first name here and last name here and DOB for here, and that's it. That's it. So if you wanted to change it, you have a different fields where you can override it. First name, in the column heading, you can enter the last name and you have a date of birth. And you click OK again and you go for test. So we have this information now. But I wanted to I wanted to add some filter that only people between 41 and 50 will come. So I go on these three dots and I go to the custom and I go to edit and I'm going to add the filter here. And I'm going to add the filter on age. So this is the age group in the selected list and I want it between 41 and 50 and click OK and run it. So there are only people who are between this are the part of this report. But let's consider that I don't want a people between 41 and 50. I want a people between 35 and 45. Then I cannot use this group, right? I can't use this filter. So I have to change a report. If I go on this action again, go to the custom report, edit and filter. Now this filter is useless, so I will remove this filter. I click on plus and I click age with a number. And now I use to select the thing like greater than or equal to 35, right? Then the second one is because like I have a greater than sign between 35, but then I need to know the people who are less than 45, right? So I have to have two filters, like two conditions with the and. And means if this is true and this is true, then it will run. And this is 45 and click OK and now run. Now I have only people between 41 to 45, 35 to 45, and the group age group may change, right? So you can add the filter on the age, you can add the filter on any any object. This is object, right? Age is an object. You can uh, have a filter on text, you have a filter on date, but whatever filter you are deciding, that filter has a different impacts. Okay, I'll go on these three dots again. I go on edit. This is related action, edit. And let's say we want a filter and plus, and I'll put here a date of birth and assume that I don't want to do it by myself. It can be a greater than or less than, right? And now, uh, right now, I am entering the dates here, right? Or the hard coding the value. Now I don't want to hard code the value. I want customer to, or the business to enter it at the runtime. I go on these three dots. This is, I click here, I select common, and I prompt the user for the value, right? I ask user to give a value. Click OK. And now I'm going to run it. And now see that the system is asking me, please give me the date of birth. And I just say that let's do it like a 0101 1980. So I have a two filters, like the date of birth will be greater than this and the people between 35 and 45. It does
Mhm.
not make any sense because these do not work together, but let's say that's what I wanted to do. And whenever you are running it now, it's allow user to enter the date, right? Whenever I do it, run it. The thing is like if I do not enter the date, it will bring a whole value. It should not be. Then it will be going with the another filter. And now I don't want the user to enter it a blank value, right? I want user to give some value for this. So in order to do that, there is a filter, right? Which is like a default value. And I go to the prompts. I click here on this populate undefined prompts. It will come here with the date of birth and the default prompts. And here is a required button. Once I click on the required, it will always ask me to enter the date of birth. See with the red sign. Now, if I will not do it, it will give me an error. It will not allow me to do that. Then this is done. Now I'm going to add a one more object. Right now we have an employee as an object. Now I'm going to create a dependent and dependent too. So I'm creating a dependent here. I'm adding a dependent like who are your dependents, and I click OK and I run the integration. Okay, let's try to remove it first. I don't want to enter the dates and the filters on this. So now I put dependents here as an object, and when I run it, you see that all the people have a dependents are coming here in the multiple lines, right? But same column. So now what I wanted to do, I wanted to see that Megan, what is the relationship of Megan with the Logan McNeil? What is the Pat McNeil has a relationship with the Logan McNeil? And what are the relationships? So I can't do it here. What I have to do, I have to go and edit my report, and I have to bring this object down to this level. I'll copy it to here, right? So I just bring it here. And now I wanted to bring the name of that dependent. I'm going to separate it. Legal first name, legal last name, uh, date of birth, if they have it, and relationship. Okay, if I run it here, you see that this is coming down along with their where with their details like their date of birth and the relationship and everything. So it's a Megan McNeil and he's a child, and the Pat McNeil is spouse, and Karen is this, and these are the having a relationship with this person. Now you see that it is more user friendly. They are in the different boxes, and we can perform some actions here, but we cannot do anything here, right? Now, what I wanted to do, I wanted to bring only like right now there are few people without any dependents, right? And the few with the dependents. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to bring only the people with dependents here. So I have to go into the filter and click on the plus sign and put dependents here and go to the operator, and I'll use is not empty. So it will bring all the dependents where it is not empty, the dependent object. And when I run it here, okay, and I'm going to run it, it will bring all the information with the data. And now there is no person without spouse. Then I go to the three dots again. I go to edit this report again. And now the information is we just need spouse here. We don't need kids, or we just need a child. We just like an example of like our company wants to know that how many people are having child. So I
Mm-hmm.
go to here on three dots and I go to edit here and I go to the sub filter because like see that this is a sub filter, right? This is a sub object. If there is a sub object, you have to go to the sub filters, right? You don't have to enter the filter here. You have to enter the filter on the sub level and click here on this plus sign. Look for the object you wanted to put the filter on and click on plus. What type of filter you want to add? You wanted to put a relationship, right? So I'll put the relationship in the selected field, and the relationship we want a child only, right? So any person who has a child, any child, one or two, it will bring. I click OK and run. And there are children's here. So go to these three dots again and go to edit it here. And now see that, let's say Logan McNeil. Look at the Logan McNeil here. And there is a contact, right? And from we wanted to bring this from the contact area. So I go
Yeah.
here, I click on the plus sign. This is probably with the employee, right? Cannot be that dependent. So I click on the contact here. So worker with the shared contact information and the others. And what I and I'll click on the addresses. Let's see if I click on the addresses. Uh, like there are two type of addresses coming with the Logan McNeil, but I'm sure there is a one is from the office and one is from the home. I don't see that
Oh.
is the one and this is a number so is a second one, right? So I cannot figure it out like which is the office and which is a home address. Go
Okay.
on these three dots. I go to the edit person and now I take this address to this level, right? To this object. And then there is the address line one and address line two, and you have to pick everything, right? I'll put like address here Address type, probably what are the types? No, not a type, but address usage. Usage type and address usage. I'll use the both one. That will help me to identify which type of information I'm going to pick. And click OK and run. So see that this is a one address and this is a business address, right? Type is business and this is a home. So address usage is like it's a billing, mailing, shipping to, shipping address, mailing address. Like there are a lot of things we are going to use, but this is not I'm looking for right now. I'm just looking for that it is a home address or office address. It is telling me that the usage type is business or the I go and edit and I'll remove this address usage. The other way is like if I'm not willing to run it, I can go on these three dots and I can read it too. Okay, let's try to run it again. If I go here and I can see that there is a only the first address, then there is a state, there is a city, there is a postal code, there is a country. You can bring everything by one to this area. Let's try to do with the primary home address and we'll bring the city and home address and state everything. I go and edit here. I'll remove this one. I'll go on this one plus. I copy this one here. I can take it like from here to primary home state city address. There are different fields: primary home state, primary home country. We are not talking about only United States, right? We are working all over the world. And I click OK and run it. And if you see that it's a address, it's a city, it's a state, it's a country, and so on. You can add anything you want. And similarly, you can do the same thing with the primary work address, their further information. So it depends on how do you require it, how did you want to extract the data, and how should it go. You can filter that like only you bring the people with the state in California and filter them others. You can do it easily. Add the filters, go here
Yeah.
on edit. We just wanted to bring the employees who are in California. For example, we have to add the filter and filter is a primary home is not empty. Home is not entry is not empty. And then there is a subfilter. You are going to add a new subfilter here.
Cool.
And that means you have to bring like primary home address, click on the plus sign and click on the state. No, because like you remember that it is not on the subfilter we are talking about on the filter level. So we can change it here like a primary home in the selected list and California and run it. And now it will only bring the employee within the California. So now there is a there can be anything possible with this report and the conditions and the formatting and everything. So this is the level where are we just created a one small skeleton of a report with the different objects with the same text with the different addresses with the address in as an object with the dependent as an object, and then we add like a different type of filters within the report and outside the report.